Okay, here we go. Factor the difference of two squares. So let's stop and talk about what is a square anyways. I mean, not the shape square, we know what that is, but a perfect square. And so when we look at 25, we consider 25 to be a perfect square because 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Anytime we have a number times itself, whatever that result is, we call that a perfect square. So like 100 is a perfect square because 10 times itself, 10 times 10 is 100. Same thing with 1 because 1 times 1 is 1. But we could also have perfect squares like x squared. So x squared is a perfect square because x times itself is x squared. X times x is x squared. And then we can combine the two. 4x squared is considered a perfect square because, let's see if I can bring out my writing here. It's because 2x times 2x gives me 4x squared. So once again, 1 times 1, right? Whoops. 10 times 10. Anything times itself, the result we call a perfect square. All right, so now we know what they mean when they say the square part. And what is difference? It's just subtraction. It's just a minus sign. So let's go ahead and do these. Factor completely. So we got to double check. We got a minus sign, so that's good. Let's look at 49. Is that a perfect square? It is, because 7 times 7. All right, let's stop for a second. Let's say you didn't know if 49 was a perfect square. All you have to do is this. You got to take your yellow calculators out and see this button that I have circled. It's the x squared button. See above it, that's the square root button. Well, to get to that square root, we hit the second button first, then we hit the x squared button, and the square root button will come up. So let's pretend the square root button came up and I put 49 in. When I hit enter, it's going to tell me 7. That tells me that 7 times 7 is 49. And if you want to check that, you could say 7 times 7 is 49. So we know that's a perfect square. All right, let's see. X squared, is that a perfect square? Yep, because x times x. How about 121? You may know that. That is 11 times 11. But once again, you can use the calculator to check that. So now we need to know something else. Everything's good. We got our minus. We got our perfect squares. Now we need to set up parentheses. Every time we have the difference of two squares, so it has to look like this. Both of them have to be squares, and you have to have a minus in there, and there can only be two terms. We set up two parentheses. And we say, okay, let's look at this part right here. What times what gives me 121? Well, we said 11, 11, 11, but we're not done, right? We're done with just this part. What times what gives me x squared? X. So 11x times 11x gives me 121x squared, all right? Then we're going to do the second part. And the second part, we say, all right, what times what gives me 49? 7 times 7. All right, you ready for the last thing? We're going to put a plus here and a minus here. Now, does it matter if you put your plus first or your minus first? It doesn't matter. But one of these groupings has to have a plus, and one of them has to have a minus. All right, so if we had the time in this video, I would stop and I would distribute, and we would see, distribute the 11x, just distribute the 7, and the middle terms cancel out, and we'd end up right back where we started. All right, so when we see the difference of two squares, this is how we're factoring. All right, let's try it again. All right, we see we have two numbers. Is this a perfect square? Yes. Is this a perfect square? Yes. And if you don't know, get your calculator out. And is it a minus sign? Yes. As soon as we say yes to all those things, we can set up our parentheses and we can start working. The square root of 4x squared is 2x, because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. The square root of 81 is 9. Now, if you don't know that, once again, you'll always have your calculator. Put the 9 there and the 9 there. We can put the plus, we can put the minus, doesn't matter what order, and we're done. This is the factored form of this. If we distributed, let me just do it. If we distribute real fast, watch. We get 4x squared, and then we get minus 18x, and then we get plus 18x, and then we get minus 81. These two, minus 18x plus 18x, gone. And look what we end up with. 4x squared minus 81, exactly what they gave us. All right, so that was a lot of craziness. What we just did here was we were checking our answer. All right, let's see if we do this again. Yep, let's do it one more time. Yep, that's a perfect square. Yep, that's a perfect square. Yep, that's a minus. Here we go. Let's set up our parentheses. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of x is x. So 6x times 6x is 36x squared. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. Put your plus, put your minus, and we're done. We're not going to take the time. Oh, that was a little messy over there. We're not going to take the time to show that this works because it does. We did it. We did it for number 2. And we are done. Thanks for joining me. And work hard, practice, and you'll retain it all. Thanks. Bye.